Diddy is still rich, y'all. Yeah, I'm talking about P. Diddy, Brother Love, Sean P. Diddy Combs. He is still rich. He is still super rich. And by the means of comparing me and you and our finances to his, he is super, super rich. Okay? He lost a lot of money recently, but he is still super rich. So let's get into how Diddy's been making millions even behind bars. You see, you got to set your business up, man, for that passive income so that when you're sleeping, that money is accumulating. You know what I mean? Just like how Diddy has his set up. As you can see, he just went through a whole lot of trouble in his life, risked it all, and almost lost everything. But at the same time, while he was incarcerated, his family was not hurting financially, and neither was he. Matter of fact, Diddy's so rich, right? He offered $50 million cash to get bail. And he put up two mansions. One of them was worth $52 million and one is worth $61 million. He offered to sell his private jet. That alone is worth $60 million. They rejected all of it. All right, so here's what's popping with Diddy. Sean P. Diddy Combs, who was recently found not guilty of some of the most serious charges against him, was said to have been making millions of dollars from prison by renting out his $60 million private jet to wealthy travelers who, most of them, have no idea that that private jet belongs to him. The rapper, Diddy, he's 55 years old. He was charged with 2 counts of sex trafficking, 2 counts of transportation to engage in prostitution, of which the latter he was actually found guilty of and is awaiting sentencing on, but those are not so serious as the RICO charges that he beat, the racketeering and the conspiracy charges and the trafficking charges. So, after just 13 hours of deliberation, the jury actually found Diddy not guilty of the racketeering, conspiracy charges, and which was the most serious charges, crimes that were thrown at him. He was found not guilty on both counts of sex trafficking, saved the day. What this meant for Diddy, most people wouldn't even understand. When he was found guilty and y'all seen him turn around, got on his knees, put his face in that chair he was just sitting in, he was saying, "Thank you, God." Because although he got found guilty on transportation to engage, which is not that serious compared to all the others, what this meant is that the feds had overreached and they now could not go after his riches. Y'all got to understand, right? The empire that this man built was about to be taken away in one swoop. If he was found guilty all across the board, he would have been doing a minimum of 30 years in prison. A minimum. For the next 3 decades, he would be behind bars. Not only that, he would have to painfully sit behind bars and watch everything go. They would have confiscated all the mansions he owns. They would have taken away all his real estate portfolio. Because not only does he own mansions, he has many houses across the country. These are investments, right? Luxury homes. 250, 500, 750,000, $1.5 million homes here, there, and everywhere. He has a fleet of luxury vehicles. Some of them are 300 and something $1,000. He has the private jet. He has so many things that they would have taken every single piece of it. They would have also confiscated all his bank accounts, both personal and business. So he had a lot riding on the line. Well, he was found not guilty of the serious charges that would have allowed the feds to do all that. A lot of people are still saying, though, damn, I know he spent a fortune paying these high-powered lawyers to get him to where he's at. So now that he's won the case, basically, how much money does he have left? Or how was he making money, if any? Was he losing money while he was behind bars, or was he making money while he was behind bars? Well, Diddy, who's been locked up in the Brooklyn Metropolitan Detention Center, he was estimated to have raked in close to $5 million extra by the time he was done with his case, as in the verdict came down that he was not guilty on the RICO charges. So if his lawyer fee was $3, $4, $5 million, he made that money, paid those lawyers, so he wouldn't even have to touch the rest of his money that was sitting there or accumulating while he was incarcerated. His jet is a Gulfstream G550 jet that is registered to his own company. It is registered to Love Air LLC, and it was used by clients at least 126 times. It racked up about 149,540 miles while Diddy was sitting behind bars. Luxury operator called Silver Air, they were the ones who were renting out that plane, and the customers spent an average of $32,597 for every 1,180 miles per journey. This is the listing that was put out there. So anybody who was stepping on that jet had some money, because each way was like $32,000, almost $33,000. And all this is happening while he is locked up. The jet, black, long-range aircraft, it can carry up to 14 passengers in opulent 7.3 by 43.11 cabins with a maximum range of 6,500 nautical miles. Photographs of his jet on Silver Air's website shows that it's a classy oak-colored interior with large padded couches and chairs, which come with plenty of legroom. The jet rental is kind of like an Airbnb. You know, you kind of like Airbnb your house out. He Airbnb'd his jet out, and it was making all that money. The jet rental could be Diddy's main source of income while he was locked up, as he has plugged at least $10 million into fighting this sex trafficking charges in the courtroom. His lawyer fees. A lot of people have been wondering, I wonder how much it costs him for lawyer fees. Well, it's been said now that his lawyer fees ran close to $10 million. You know what? If me and you got into these types of charges and got this RICO thing put against us, we wouldn't be able to make it up out of here, because we wouldn't have $10 million to pay these high-powered attorneys. But then again, we wouldn't have had all that money that Diddy got to get in that trouble in the first place. I mean, I don't think he should have went to jail or prison. However, I do think that some stuff was super strange about his lifestyle. But again, it's not illegal to be freaky if you're being freaky with consenting adults. So he previously put his palatial $61.5 million Los Angeles mansion on the market as he scrambled to cover the cost of assembling a team of veteran attorneys. A $60 million jet, a $61.5 million mansion. Your lawyer fee is only $10 million. Between the jet and one of the 5 mansions he has, that's $120 million with only 10 going to lawyer fees. So, like I said, Diddy is far from broke. You know, he previously put the mansion on the market, and it's out there. Don't know if it's been sold yet. Diddy's 10-bedroom, 13 bathrooms Beverly Hills mansion seems to have been tainted by the scandal, and it has sat on the market now for over 200 days. Or maybe it's because nobody wants to pay $65 million or $61.5 million right now for a mansion. I mean, let's be real. That's not a small asking price, right? So the market, the real estate agents are saying maybe it's tainted. Maybe it's because of the scandal behind it. Maybe because all the publicity that went with it. And now a lot of people know where it's at. Trust me, most people have no friggin' idea where that mansion is actually located. And also, you can't even access that community anyways. So I don't think it's about the publicity that went with it. I think it's more about nobody got time for that right now. $61.5 million. So he's currently held at the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn, New York. He's accused of operating a racketeer conspiracy, charges of sex trafficking, and all that stuff that he did beat. He has denied all these accusations, and he was facing life in prison, but not anymore. For that, we await his sentencing, and it says that Diddy's sentencing will be handed down October 3rd of 2025, right? You know, a lot of people were wishing for him to go broke. A lot of people were hoping that he is not still rich, that he is not still wealthy. That's not the case. A year ago, before he was arrested, he was listed at, his net worth was $750 million. That was his net worth. Even during the time when he was like, I'm a billionaire, I am a billionaire, Forbes went and did a check. Forbes is considered to be the most credible when it comes to checking people's net worth and finances and giving financial information. And they said Diddy was not a billionaire, according to their findings. However, Diddy listed himself as a billionaire, and they found him to be at $750 million up, but not a billionaire. Within the space of a couple of months after he was arrested, his net worth went from $750 million to $400 million. Damn. That's a big drop. However, he is still $400 million up. Not only is he $400 million up, he stands to recoup all that money. His Sean John clothing line, which had gone into bankruptcy with all his investors, he just reacquired that clothing line, which means he's about to revamp the clothing line and bring it back. So that clothing line, now he doesn't have to worry about investors. He'll be the only owner / investor of his own brand, and he will be earning all that money for himself and not for investors. I'll give you a good example. Look at what happened with Adidas with Kanye West. If you notice, during Diddy's trial, the only celebrity that showed up at the courthouse to lend some support to Diddy was Kanye West. Kanye West understands the fashion game. He understands the clothing game on a deeper level. And he and Diddy are obviously cool like that. So I'm sure he'll be showing him the ropes, right? As he revamps his Sean John clothing line. Kanye West himself got out of a contract with Adidas, maintained all his rights to his brand, Yeezy. Not only did he do that, his net worth dropped significantly from billionaire status to $400 million. They love to put you around the $400 million mark, I guess. However, within a year's time, Kanye West not only got back to billionaire status, he got back to billionaire status plus some, because his net worth before that was 1.1 billion. And after all that drama, his net worth sits at almost $3 billion. So he is definitely on the billionaires list. And I see the same thing happening for Diddy in the future. I don't think he lost so much. It was just a process of going through what he had to go through and the possibilities he was facing from behind bars, looking helpless, waiting for his fate as it was in the hands of 12 people who sat on a jury. One person says, dude has a net worth of 400 to 500 US dollars. Shit, he can live off interest alone and be okay. Another person says, damn, Diddy, what a stupid game. You had all that to risk, to lose, and you out here playing like you're a regular person. Another person says, have they let him out yet so he could go hurt more people? Another person says, Diddy was an evil, sadistic thug and he will never change. Cassie should be afraid for her and her family's safety as he has money and fellow thugs to do great harm. No, I don't even believe that. I don't believe that because Diddy was with Cassie for almost 11 years. She was not hidden. She was very public. The world knew he was with her. That's not somebody you were trafficking. You don't put who you're trafficking on Front Street. You definitely don't take them on $1 million shopping sprees and buy them expensive gifts and fly them around the world. We're not going to Paris for a weekend if I'm trafficking you for you to go on $1 million shopping spree and have fun, right? Obviously, it was a toxic ass relationship. And as far as Diddy trying to use people to come at her because he has money, I don't believe that will happen because after what he has gone through, being in the feds, this is the first time this has ever happened to him. No matter how powerful he might have thought he was, I'm absolutely sure he was humbled by the situation where all the money he had could not get him out. Imagine going to the judge and saying, I will give up $50 million cash. I will give up 2 mansions, my mama's house and one of my mansions, and I will surrender all the travel documents for all my family members. I'm not going anywhere. Just please put me on bail. And the judge looks at you and goes, nope, you're not going on bail. You're staying in jail because even though you're giving up all that, you still have enough resources to cause problems. So you're going to stay right there until your fate is decided after your trial. I think that was super humbling for him. I also think he's smart enough now to know that even if he was to be vindictive and plan and say, you know what, I'm going to send a couple of people after the people who testified against me, mainly Cassie, because she started all this. Even if he was, don't you think the feds are still watching him? Don't you think they have him under surveillance? They would love to have him back in court again. They would love to have him violate so that they can put something together and say, look, soon as you let him out, the jury got it wrong. And as soon as you let him out, this is what he did. He used his money and he sent goons and thugs after Mrs. Ventura or after this person or that person. Now we're going to lock him away for life for sure. I think Diddy will be flying straight from now on, right? Another person says, wow, excellent news. No wealthy man is safe. Thank God he beat this. See, there are people out here who do believe that this was just a money grab. So as much as you have people who think he's guilty and should be locked away forever, there are a lot of people who see this for something else. Like Cassie was never a victim. And all the other people around him were never victims either. They saw a cash cow. They saw a way to get to a lifestyle that they always wanted to live. Their dreams were coming through being around him. That's called personal choices. Poor choices, but personal choices made as adults. That's not coercion. That's not force. Another person says, it's amazing how people have it all, but continue to make more and more and more and seek more control. What a vile man he is. Another person says, huge expenses with that kind of plane. How much did he gross on it after all the expenses were taken away? He grossed $4.1 million on it. It's funny how people who are broke sit on the outside. Most of us don't even understand numbers, and yet we pass remarks. Bad business idea. I bet he isn't making that much money on that. I mean, you haven't even made your first million yet. Tells you a lot. One person said his music is all just copies from other people, and I don't know why anybody even pays for it. He's been a phony from the start. Here goes another hater. Another person says, I never liked the man. He always struck me as fake with his lifestyle. I just think he's a horrible person. Horrible person for what? Because you just never liked him? Then here goes somebody else. Crawl back under your rock. Under what rock? Maybe you've been living under a rock. He's been living on top of the world, and he's trying to get back to that lifestyle. Another person says, all those bribery payments are starting to show up. Who cares what he makes? He is still behind bars. LOL. He's never getting out. LOL. Well, guess what? He has the last laugh. Because even if the judge sentences him in October to some time behind bars, they still can't give him forever behind bars because he didn't do anything to get forever behind bars. And he did beat those RICO charges, so that means he is still rich. Leave your comments in the comment section below. Tell me what you think about this one. I'll catch you on the next video. It's BrainFLoTv. I'm out. Peace.